Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will solve real-world data engineering interview question using a PySpark. First, we will go through a problem statement, understand the logic step by step, and implement and optimize PySpark solution. So, if you are preparing for a data engineering, or we can say a need to looking to improve your PySpark skill, this video is for you. So let's get started. So we have created the employee data in which we have a list of a tuples. So and also we have created the employee schema in which we have a list of a string. So this is the schema we have created and this is the data we have. So we need to create, so we have created data frame. So using the spark dot create data frames method in which we have used data as an employee and schema as employee schema, and we have created the employee df as a data frame. So in the data frame dot show, this is the actions we have used to get the result. So we have got the tables like employee id, employee name, and the manager id. So let's go through a question first. The question they have given: write a code to retrieve a complete list of all employees along with their direct manager. So we have a tables like employee ID, employee name, and the manager's ID. These columns we have. If you see employee ID alias, which don't have any manager ID, this is the null manager ID alias have. But if you see 2 and the 3, Bob and the Charlie, manager ID is the 1. So manager ID 1 belong to Elise. So she is the managers of Bob and Charlie. Also, we have a David and a Era as an employee ID 4 and the 5. Have a manager ID 2. But if you see 2, managers and is Bob. So Bob is the managers of David and Eva, same like the Frank and Grace. This employee ID 7, the 6 and the 7 have a manager's ID 4. So manager ID 4, which is belong to David. So David is the managers of a Grace and Frank. So we need to find all the employee along their direct manager's name. So it's like Alice don't have manager, so it will come as a null. But Bob, you have a manager ID one, so Alice as manager. Same like Eva have a manager's ID two, so Eva and the manager's name, like if ID is the two, then it's Bob. So Eva's manager's Bob. So this type of the output we are going to find. So we have a data frame, first data frame. So I'm going to use, firstly, I'm going to use the self join because as an employee's perspective, I will use as a first data frame, and the second data frame I will use as a manager for manager perspective, I can say. So because in an employee using the manager ID and the employee ID condition, because we need to find managers of a first table, which is I can say it is connected to the employee of the second table. So let's get started. Let's write the code. That which data frames we are using here. As you can see, we have employee DF as a data frame. Employee DF as the data frames we are using. Dot. I'm going to give a alias name because I'm going to use as I can say two times because self join I'm going to use. So for that I am giving the alias name as the employee, and also I'm going to join basis on join which table, same tables I am going to use, which is nothing but employee df employee df dataset I am going to use. Employee df dataset, also I am giving the name for the employee dataset as alias name I'm going to give as a manager, because first data set I'm going to see as a employee's perspective, and the second data set I'm going to use as a manager's perspective. So this is the self join I'm going to use on base. So first, when we join the conditions in a, we can say when we join the self join conditions in a PySpark, we join, give the second data set name, and on which column you are going to join that column we need to type. Like first I'm going to use employee dot managers id, from the employee's perspective. I'm going to join managers id with whom, with manager's perspective column, with the manager's perspective, which mng, manager's perspective employee id, manager's perspective employee id I'm going to use. Manager's perspective employee ID I'm going to use to join this condition. And the third condition is like third parameter I'm going to be join. You are going to use third joint is nothing but the left join, because I need retrieve complete list of all employees. I need the all list of the employee. So employee table is the present on the left side. That's why I am using that left join as a condition. So for example, when you are joining two tables in the PySpark, first we take the first data set, join condition, second data set, on which column you are joining that both tables, and join. We join you are going to use. So using this, I am going to select what I need to select from a book table. First, I need to select, I need to select, first I am going to use, okay, column. Let's take the employee ID also. Let's take the employee ID also first, column. For which columns I'm going to use employee ID, and from which tables, column, from which tables, employee ID, but from first table, because we are using first table as an employee perspective, and the second table as a, we can say second table as a manager perspective. So column, first column as the employee ID, second column as we can say emp dot, second columns I'm taking employee name, emp dot name, and the third columns I'm going to use, sorry, employee name, emp name, employee name, o employee, employee name I'm going to use, and the fourth and the second column is done. And from the second tables, from which table, second table, from which table, from the second table, like the manager table, we need to find the manager also. So I'm using all, like all, which columns I'm going to use, all managers from the managers table, manager table, employee name, employee, employee name, and I'm going to give the name to that specific column as, I can say alias name, alias name as, alias name as, alias name as, you can say manager name, manager's name. Okay, and I'm going to show that to output. I'm going to use that action to see the output. Let's run the query. Okay, we are getting the unexpected indentation error. Why we are getting unexpected indentations error? Join on conditions employee.da alias as the manager's column. Okay, we haven't used the indentation. Okay, I think backward slash we haven't used. That's why we are getting that. Also, we are getting the second error. The employee DF is not defined. Why employee DF is not defined? Employee DF, let's run this first. Why employee DF is not defined? Control C. Okay, this run. Let's see employee DF. Control V. Now let's run the program once again. All is not defined. Okay, third error we are getting is when all is not defined because call is the function that we need to import from the PySpark. So I am going to do from PySpark PySpark dot SQL dot functions functions. I'm going to import all the functions so we don't need to. Let's import only the call function. So I am importing the call function. Let's see now. Let's run the program once again and see what we will get. So we have also not mentioned this column into double quotes because these columns we are using as a join condition. We have conditions and the employee ID, manager dot employee name, and the alias name that we are using as the manager's ID. So let's show. Thing we have also missed some bracket. So this bracket belong to this bracket belong to this. And if we see select statement bracket belong to this, we also need one extra bracket. Here alias manager name. Okay, let's run the query and see what output we will get. Okay, as we can see, we have received the output as we earlier discussed, like the employee ID. Alice don't have managers. Bob and the Charlie. Alice is the managers. David and the Era. Bob is the manager. Frank and the Grace have a David as a managers. Thank you. I hope you understand this concept. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please make sure to subscribe. If you have any doubts, drop a comment below and don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you.